Wow. I'm so honored to be here. In fact, I'm more than honored. I'm electrified. Can you feel the energy in this room? You're an exciting group of people to be with. A group of people gathered together with purpose. Is there anything more powerful than that? And I'm aware that in this room, we're focused on possibility, on finding new ways to make things better. And while this room here in Soho is our physical location today, it's really a room with no walls and no limitations. Our presence here expands worldwide. We exist beyond this room because we, collectively and together, are more than this room. We're a community, a digital community. In this global TEDx community, we are united by the search for ideas worth spreading, simple and powerful. And I'm convinced, completely and utterly convinced, that digital communities united with purpose are the most powerful tool we have to unify and change the world. And as you'll see from my talk today, I'm so convinced of this that I'm betting my career on it. So I read recently that the long popular notion of 6 degrees of separation is rapidly narrowing to just 2 degrees. Can you believe that? The rise of social media over the last 2 decades has connected all of us to billions of people. We are more connected now than we have ever been. So why is it that so many people feel disconnected? With digital connectivity, we should be more empowered than ever. Yet many people are still feeling powerless. But why? Could it be that we as individuals are struggling to find our place in a newly global society? Lately, it feels like we are more united by what else can go wrong than how can we lean in to make a difference? Or could it be a case of perspective? That we are more focused on the division than all the progress that we're actually making? Like the global community of doctors and scientists that came together to give us a COVID vaccine in record-breaking time. Or the worldwide community that is right now rallying to support Ukraine in their fight against a superpower. Or maybe you heard about the loosely organized group of individual investors that upended Wall Street last year, proving that a group of regular folks united together with a purpose could take on even some of the most powerful financial institutions. Does it surprise any of us that the world's richest man wants to own one of the farthest reaching digital communities? Of course, digital communities can be dangerous, weaponized by terror groups, co-opted to spread fake news. Power can go both ways. Now, I'm an eternal optimist, so I believe that digital communities are the best chance that we have to level the playing field and give everyone a voice. But the big question, the age-old question, is how can the good overcome the bad, especially in a decade of crisis? This decade started with a global pandemic, worldwide protests, war in Europe, an unsettling resurgence of nuclear tension. But does it really need to be a decade of crisis? Or could it be the beginning of an age of enlightenment? The answer may very well be in this room, right here, in this room with no limitations. In both China and Japan, the word crisis is made up of 2 characters. The first one means danger. The second, opportunity. It's kind of an interesting double meaning there. I don't know if it was intended, but to me, my translation is now is our time. But how do you possibly make a positive difference in an age of crisis? What kind of disruptor emerges in an age of crisis. As a Silicon Valley entrepreneur who started my first tech company on the eve of the dot-com crash, the worst time in the history of man to start a tech company, I have seen opportunity emerge out of crisis. And as I look back, I realize that I've been plowing through risks to get to reward my whole life. Many of us probably have. Some of my proudest achievements were born out of crisis or arose out of desperation. To give you a little background, my favorite sport is ice hockey. In fact, one of my favorite ice hockey teams is right here in London, up at Ali Pali, the London Devils. As a kid growing up, one of my favorite jobs, and by far my most lucrative, was starting a tree care business when I was just 16. Most kids my age were bagging groceries or getting a job at the mall, and I was climbing trees with a 36-inch chainsaw. Nothing says danger like a teenager in a tree with a chainsaw. Fast forward to the early 2000s, when I took one of the riskiest bets of my life, starting that tech company that I mentioned before with two friends, Jeff Anderson and Philip Alvelda. We were young, and we had this wacky idea to put TV on cell phones. It may seem obvious today, but back then, cell phones didn't look like this. They looked like this. Do you all remember these devices? Anyway, the point is that cell phones were not smart yet, and apparently neither were we, because we had zero experience in television, but we went for it anyway. And as many of you probably know, timing can be everything for an entrepreneur. In the early 2000s, the timing for our company, Moby TV, was not as apparent to others as it was to us. Our fun idea was met with a lot of resistance, massive amounts of skepticism, and straight up ridicule, mostly from Hollywood. We were literally laughed out of meetings. I remember one studio executive, senior executive, telling us, and I quote, "TV on cell phones is the stupidest idea he had ever heard of." And then he marched out of the meeting. So here we were. We're young. We just started this company. The tech industry is in complete tailspin after the dot-com crash. We're working for next to nothing salaries at a company that is quickly running out of money, and we're being ridiculed in meetings. Crisis was looming. But remember what crisis can bring. It was actually the doubters that kept us going. I mean, after all, what's more satisfying and motivating than proving a skeptic wrong? And that's exactly what we did. 3 years after starting that company and being ridiculed, we were on stage accepting an Emmy Award from the Television Academy, one of the highest honors. And by this point, the whole industry had come on board, including that executive, who would later become a close friend. Thank you. After that, the demand for and the capability of the cell phone grew at warp speed. The cell phone, now the smartphone, had quickly become the center of our connected universe. Today, 6.6 billion people own a smartphone like this. 84% of the world's population. It's incredible. While we were building Moby TV, one of the things that we stumbled across was what we felt like this device's greatest use was, not necessarily to watch TV, but to connect us. And not just to connect our phone calls, but to connect our lives. After Moby TV, I was a little closer to the inner circle of Hollywood, but still maintaining my outsider perspective. Seeing both sides reinforced something that I'd always felt a connection to: fans. I'm a consummate movie fan. Fans are my community. And if you think about it, without fans, the entire entertainment industry simply would not exist. Fans buy the tickets, fans pay the subscriptions, fans decide what to watch. But fans have never had the power to greenlight projects or had any kind of direct voice in what content gets made. Those empowered in the entertainment industry have forever held a very tight grasp on what content gets produced. Since the earliest time of the industry, they have maintained a giant wall between those who make the content and those who watch it. And there are repercussions of that, because it's a very small group of people that are making those decisions. But what if a community of fans could change that? And that got me back together with my co-founder, Jeff Astin, and lifelong business partner, and we started thinking, what if we created that community and we united that together into a studio, a fan-owned studio, the first ever? It would be the complete inverse of the long-held studio system. We could open the gates to Hollywood and democratize the entertainment industry. It's a moonshot idea, but again, we're dreamers. And so in 2016, we introduced our newest venture, Legion M, the world's first fan-owned entertainment company. We are uniting a vibrant and engaged community to co-own the company, have a voice in what content we produce, go behind the scenes and get involved, but also own a piece of the upside. We're redefining what it means to be a shareholder. The M in our logo, the Legion M logo, has a bar over it, which is a Roman numeral for 1 million. Our goal is simple: unite 1 million entertainment fans to co-own the company and reshape the industry. What can 1 million people with shared passion and purpose, ownership and a voice in the process accomplish? A built-in audience, the crown jewel of Hollywood. Imagine a built-in audience that's not confined to existing franchises, sequels and reboots of existing franchises, but instead searching for new IP, wildly original IP from new voices. It's still too early to tell if Legion M will be the force of change that we want it to be, but we're feeling pretty optimistic. We've already released several movies with fans as our guiding light, and our pipeline of projects is bigger and better than it's ever been. In fact, we're shooting a movie right now here in the UK, up in Leeds, starring Simon Pegg and Minnie Driver, both fan favorites. And some of our own TV and film heroes have joined our movement as shareholders. It's a positive sign. We're betting, as Victor Hugo once said, nothing is as powerful as an idea whose time has come. We feel like it's time. Anyway, so I want to leave you with a couple thoughts. I very much feel like we are living through some form of a decade of crisis. I think there's no denying that. But as history has taught us, if crisis equals danger plus opportunity, then what's next? To find out, we need pioneers and entrepreneurs to lead us with purpose and intention. So whatever new ideas you're nurturing right now, keep going. Whatever that next opportunity or the next challenge is, consider how a digital community united with the purpose can make a difference. We need everyone in this room, plus those you are connected to, including those that you're only separated by 2 degrees, to come together, look beyond, and help us move forward in a positive way. I think that's what the energy that I was talking about earlier is all about. You are, all of you, together, endless possibilities. And I can't think of anything more important than that to the future of our world and our planet. Thank you.